Sifu Raphael is the founder and host of Coaching Call, Heroes Rising, The Seer Show, and New Tip Daily. He works with individuals, groups, and businesses and helps them find clarity, purpose, and understanding of who they really are in business and personal life. Sifu Raphael has used his skills to develop a variety of multifaceted businesses in the martial arts and fitness industries. He owns and operates a 10,000 square foot martial arts and fitness facility in New York. Jose Escobar is an award-winning, nationally recognized personal development speaker, published author, and sales professional. He leads compelling, high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through his two business models, the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf and the Connected Leaders Academy. He is also the co-host of Heroes Rising.
Happy Friday, Jose. Thank you for being here. My amazing co-host.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? That's weird. How about now? No?
Can't hear you, no.
Okay, you do it. I'm going to go back.
So it sounds like Sifu Raphael is saying he's going to get off and get back on. Oh, but it says I can hear you. So
you can hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I just can't hear you. That's weird. I'm going to get off and get back on. Maybe that.
Okay. I'm going to bring Francois. Can you hear me?
I can hear you okay, Raphael.
Okay. And Jeannie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear all three of you.
Oh, okay. So, Jose, you can't hear me. Can you hear them? Okay. So, welcome to Heroes Rising. Thank you so much. Jose is probably going to go off and come back on. And, you know, when we had a sound check earlier, we all heard each other. And then we go live and magic happens. Sometimes magic doesn't happen the way we want it to be, right? So why don't we go ahead, and I know Jose is going to join us back in. It does happen to be his birthday week. He had a birthday on Wednesday, and he's a young 40-year-old. Amazing. He's doing amazing things in this world. But let's go ahead, and I want to introduce you guys, not only to Jeannie, but also to Francois, right? I had a great conversation with our next guest, Francois, right? He's a veteran, 9 years in the military, where he developed his thirst, his quench for knowledge and challenges. He trained always to aim high, perform at his best, and make quick decisions, because sometimes you need those. Those are life threatening decisions that if you don't make them, somebody's life can be in danger. So his motto is never surrender. Francois, you and I have the same motto. I don't surrender. I don't know how to quit, my friend. Right? That statement alone is, I believe, in never surrendering. So many people quit before they find gold. Not only us, right, brother? But yeah. He learned what it means to be a high performer and developed a strong sense of leadership, discipline, responsibility, and determination. While living the good life and doing well emotionally, physically, and financially, he made a deep discovery deep inside himself. He heard a voice, and that voice was telling him he needed to do more. Francois, like most of us who want more, he followed his dream. So many of people don't follow that. His burning desire was just to discover the world, and he set himself up for a new challenge. I got to tell you, the next part of this journey took courage, and I believe, Francois, quitting your job, he sold all his stuff and embarked on a journey of self-discovery and literally actualization, where he's traveling the world. Right now, he's in Argentina, And one of the questions that he asked himself is, why am I here? What do I want out of life? I can only imagine that it wasn't easy. He learned valuable skills and knowledge working abroad as a project manager, survival training instructor, first aid instructor, communication manager, and general consultant. Listen, I can tell you all his accolades, but who to better tell you than Francois himself? Francois, my friend, you are doing amazing things. By the way, let me just do a sound check. Jose, how's it? You hear us?
Testing. I
Can
hear
you
you
hear?
perfectly. Yep.
Perfect. All right. We have the amazing Jose back. So Francois, take it away, my friend. You have a great message for us today.
Thank you, Raphael. I appreciate it. Thank you for the nice introduction. And I want to jump in right away with what you said. Like, yes, it takes courage to live your best life, and people tend to quit too soon. I think the society today makes everything available very fast, right? You want something, you order the day after, bam, it's there. And we start losing the ability to delay gratification. It's getting more and more difficult. And so that's why I ask myself a lot that question, what do I really want from life? And before I go further, I want to share with you a moment that I will never forget. It was in Indonesia in September 2018. I was hanging on a tree, almost being swallowed by a deadly tsunami wave, devastating everything on its way. Around me, hundreds of people were trying not to drown or escape from the collapsing building caused by the earthquake that destroyed the city just a few minutes before. I was in that tree, holding the branch on one side. On the other arm, I was holding a 5-year-old girl that I rescued from the collapsing building behind. I was there, looking at the tsunami coming so fast. It was chaos around. Everything was on fire. Everything was destroyed. People were yelling. The car alarms were ringing. That was just a nightmare. This little girl looked into my eyes. I was holding her like this. She was terrified. I could see in her eyes, and I'm not lying, I was as well. I was looking at her. She was looking at me, and I smiled and said, "That's okay. It's going to be all right." In my mind, I was just thinking, you liar. You're going to die. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a very traumatic event. 4,000 people died that day, including friends. And after that happened, I went through a very dark phase of my life. I was so mad, so angry at life, you know. But there is something that I realized. There are two truths. First, we are all going to die. Sorry, I know you don't want to hear that. Second, nobody knows well when. It sounds a little bit creepy. I know. But we tend to lose track, or we tend to forget our own mortality. You know, we always think that we're invincible, that we're gonna live forever. And so we have this tendency to live with this illusion of infinite time. When I was about to die, I was in that tree, and I was asking myself, oh, was that it? Was that my life? Was that everything I could be or do? You know, I had this question that kept coming, and I could not really find meaning to that. And I can tell you guys, I was not thinking about my bank account, about the businesses that I wanted to build, about my dreams and stuff. No. The only thing I had in mind was the people I had in my life, the smiles, the emotions that I got, the experiences. I was just left with that. Now, as I said, we tend to live with this illusion of infinite time, thinking that shit doesn't happen to me, only to others. And if you think that, oh yeah, I cannot really relate, you know, a tsunami is never going to happen to me. Well, I thought exactly the same thing before. It's very unlikely to happen, but we're not immune to anything that can happen, right? And so I have this question for all of you. If you had 1 year to live, who would you be? What would you do? Which places would you visit? With who would you spend your time with? And that's a question I didn't really answer myself a lot. But wait, what if you had just 1 month? 1 week? No, what if you had just 1 day? That day, after this traumatic experience, I promised myself to live every single day of my life to the fullest and inspire other people to do the same. Now, I didn't get to that point immediately. Right? It took a few weeks of being in this very dark place, not allowing myself to find joy, not allowing myself to actually live, because I was so mad. I was in this victim position, blaming everything, blaming the world, blaming the universe. Like, what is this happening? It's horrible. I've seen so many people suffering. I was so angry at everything. But one day, thinking about all the people that I lost, the friends that died that day, and all the suffering that I witnessed, I'm like, I am still alive. Man, I have the duty to make the most out of it, at least to honor the memory of all who died that day. And really, that day, that's the moment I promised myself to live every single day of my life to the fullest. And when I said that, from being a victim, I really became a survivor. And that changed everything for me, because my mindset was completely different. Instead of blaming everything around me, I just realized, well, I can empower myself. I can take ownership back of my life. I can actually assume responsibility that I've been given, like to create the life I really want to live. Because, we all been at that point where we complain about things, like, I want to be successful, but I don't want to do the things that lead to success. I want to be fit, but I don't really want to work out, or whatever it is. We keep saying like, oh yeah, we complain and we don't do anything about it. What Einstein said, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, it's called insanity. But unfortunately, the majority of people keep complaining about their life and don't do anything about it. I mean, we all been there. I'm pretty sure it's January, right? So it's kind of the month when we dump everything that we want different in our life, like the resolutions. How many times in your life have you been saying, I should, and did not do it? I'm guilty of it. And I think we all are. We all do that from time to time. But every time we do that, we postpone our best life for later. Or every time we do that, we live with this illusion of infinite time. When I started traveling the world, it took me first a lot of courage to leave the military, leave this all perfect comfort life that I created for myself. And I worked so hard to get there. But after I was traveling, like, oh, the best is yet to come. I was in Colombia thinking, oh, Japan is going to be amazing. I was in Japan thinking, oh, the Philippines are going to be so great. And then I kept doing that. I kept living in the future without really realizing that the future is not given. The future might never happen. The only thing that I really have is right now. Now, I do understand that we need to find this fine line between I'm going to live the best life I can today while preparing my best life for tomorrow. Because you cannot just live like YOLO and just burn everything out. No, we need to find a mix of both living fully in the present and preparing a bright future. No, when I say that, is success doesn't just happen. Right? In a way, would I wish that you just push on the button and then, you're successful? Now, I don't think so, because if you would do that, success would be less sweet. You would not have all the pride and the accomplishment of the journey. The process of creation is so important. So it doesn't just happen. To create more success and fulfillment in life, well, you're going to be intentional about it, and you're going to be very committed, right? Commitment, intentionality. So after this event, I started thinking really hard, how can I maximize my life experience? Because I figured out there are two ways to live. The first one is to minimize the struggle, and the second is to maximize your life experience. No, life is too short to spend all your time minimizing the struggle. But it's like the majority of the population try to do that, trying to go through life with as least suffering and pain as possible. There was a few percentage, though, who is trying to make the most out of it. Right? And I wanted to be part of those people, because I was thinking the day I'm going to see my life flashing by in front of my eyes again, I want to be like, yeah, I nailed it. I want to live without any of those regrets or unmet desires. I mean, one of the chapters in my book is called Don't Die with a To-Do List. And I'm not going to die with a to-do list. I promise myself I will not. But so that takes a lot of intentionality and commitment. So I wanted to develop a process to be like, I want to create success and fulfillment in life. So how do I start? And I break it down into 3 different parts. The first is to be great. The second is to do good. And the last is to live epic. And that's kind of my mantra. Be great, do good, live epic. What does that really mean? Be great is about learning to master your body, because this is the place we spend the most time in. I want to master my body. I want to feel the best as I can and look the best as I can. So my nutrition, the movement, the self-care, the sleep, etc. And I want to master my mind, because This thing up there, it kind of makes us crazy sometimes, right? I want to gain more knowledge. I want to go deeper in my character. I want to live by my virtues, my values. I want to develop resilience. And then I also want to learn to master my emotions, right? To differentiate the pain, to deal with the suffering, to deal with all this negative self-talk, the imposter feeling, etc. All those beliefs and emotions that we have all the time that are building our days. And lastly, I want to master my spirituality. I want to go deeper to discover my true essence, my connectedness to everything else in the world. So this to me is all belonging to being great. The second part is doing good. But what is my purpose here? What is something that is bigger than myself? And with all the people I work with, every time I talked about purpose, it's always including other people. There is always a contribution to making the world better. And by saying that, I'm not talking about changing the whole world and be a leader of thousands. No, it can be as simple as, you know what, my purpose is to be a better father, a better mother, a better son, a better brother, or a better friend. But in purpose, there is always a part of contribution. And if it's not to human, maybe it's to nature, right? Or to animals, right? But this part of doing good. And the last part is living epic. To me, living epic is defining what are your own metrics to success. Because that day I nearly died, I realized, am I chasing success defined by my own terms? Or am I chasing success based on society, based on what social media is showing you? And I realized, whoa, I need to spend way much more time thinking my life through, thinking what does success means to me? Because ultimately, it's not really success that we are after. It's fulfillment that is coming with the success. And as Tony Robbins said, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Well, I don't want to feel that. And I interviewed a lot of millionaires explaining like they're very successful and feel miserable and unfulfilled. Like, oh, this is a dangerous trap to go. And so taking the time to redefine success for myself was really brilliant. It really helped me to know how am I going to live an epic life. And lastly, in this living epic is as well knowing what do I want to experience and what do I want to learn in this lifetime. And then make sure I'm going to do that, right? And so this 3 parts formula is really being great, doing good, and living epic. If you think about it, this is all about reaching a high level of self-mastery, understanding who we are, what we are here to do, and moving things forward. So it's really gaining this awareness. And one of the biggest message I want to give to people is you don't need to wait for a traumatic event to start living your best life. Too often, this is what happened. People wait to be sick, laying on a hospital bed to say, I'm going to take care of my health. Or people wait to be with a counselor for the marriage before to say like, oh yeah, maybe we should do something about the relationship. You don't need to wait until it's too late. This is a decision you can make today for everyone. We can decide today, you know what? I'm going to take ownership of my situation. I'm going to take responsibility for whatever is in my life right now. So you have the awareness, you take ownership, and then you can start taking action. And because nothing happened with just one action, right? We're going to have to build sustained action over time. And this is self-discipline, right? The moment we can build self-discipline, it's really bridging where we are right now and our objective, our goals. And so if I zoom out with all of that, once again, it's all about self-mastery, going a layer deeper, becoming the best of who you can be, learning to show up in a way that you've never shown up before. And if you keep asking yourself this question every single day, I promise you really change the way you live, the way you create, because every day is creation. Every act is an act of self-definition, as Neil Donald Walsh said. Now, I want to wrap up with this quote that I use as a mantra from Emile Coué. It says, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. You know what? Every day I wake up in the morning, I say that to myself. It creates so much purpose for my day. And every day, at the end of the day, before I go to bed, I think about that. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. If I keep getting better and better, even just 0.5% every single day, I can reach things I cannot even dream of. I cannot even imagine how far I can go. And this is a power that we all have. This is just a decision that we can all make. And I think we have to make that decision. So the biggest message I want to share today with people is to stop living with the illusion of infinite time and to stop postponing your best life for later. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Thank you.
Okay, you just dropped like 50 bombs on us. Oh my goodness. Yes, Jose, right? Amazing
That
stuff.
was phenomenal. My
Okay,
goodness.
we might as well
Yeah.
shut the show. I'm sorry. But for me, I have nothing to say. Jeannie, I know, has tons to say. But listen, when we think about thought provoking, you have ignited a spark in all of us to live like tomorrow's not coming. We plan for tomorrow,
Yeah.
but we got to live in the moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And I think, the simplest, because maybe some people hear that and yeah, it's a bit inspiring, like, oh, maybe it's too much. I feel overwhelmed by all the things that I want to do in my life. It can just simply start. But you know what? I'm going to show appreciation to the people in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for the listeners, you can just take your phone and just send a text to someone you appreciate and say, hey, I just wanted to know you to know that I do appreciate you and I'm grateful that you're in my life. I think there's just simple things because I can tell the day I was about to die, I was like, I don't want to have this feeling again. Do my parents know I love them? Do my brothers and sisters? Do my friends, they know that? Is my wife knowing it? When I was just the wave was about to crash, I took my phone and tried to call my wife. And I'll say, luckily, but my phone, the call never went through because all the antennas were destroyed.
Mm.
I was like, I should be living in a certain way that I don't need to give a last one call to say, hey, I love you. Thank you for being there. She needs to know that. And this is
100%.
everyday creation. Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, I picked up my phone not because I didn't want to listen to what you were saying, because I wanted to show that I have a friend of mine. He was on my show over a year and a half ago, and
Yeah.
every Friday we text each other.
Mm.
All we say is 2 words: Happy Friday.
Love it.
Yeah.
You're right. Just reach out, let people know you care. That's huge. And you don't have to make that last minute call. That's a beautiful advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to bring up my co-host, but before I do that, he is also a sponsor. So let's go ahead and share his sponsorship.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Amazing, amazing. You definitely have to join that group, Connected Leaders Academy. Let me tell you about my co-host, right? Jose Escobar. He's an award-winning, I'm telling you, this guy is just really amazing. He's a nationally recognized personal development speaker, 7-time published author. He's been 25 years in sales. He's a husband and a father of not 1, not 2, but 5 children. He leads compelling high-level communities consisting of entrepreneurs and advanced leaders through 2, not 1, but 2 multi-6-figure businesses. The Entrepreneur's Bookshelf, and that's why you see all those amazing books behind him, and the Connected Leaders Academy that you just saw about. Jose's magnetic personality shines everywhere. I mean, you go into a dark room and Jose walks in, man, that room is lit up, right? His presentations is where he's reached audiences collectively over 30 million people. He is just a dynamic coach. His programs are inspiring, international. His Connected Leaders Academy, I think it's almost 250. His clients, he is a top-notch consultant, coach, and a friend. Jose, my friend, I know you have some inspiring words of and lots of wisdom. Every time I hear you, I take my pen and paper so I can take notes.
Well, first of all, I've got to say your intro for me is getting better week to week. So,
You know why? Every time I get to know you more and more, my friend.
I feel like you had more umph this time, but hey, I like it. Thank you. I appreciate it with all humility. So I'm excited to be here. And wow, Francois, I got to say, living epic, self-mastery, don't die with a to-do list. I was taking copious notes as I was listening here. So thank you for really over-delivering for everybody today. And you inspired me. And I always get inspired. I'm always looking to get inspired because you find what you're looking for, right? And if you don't have an agenda in terms of what you're looking to get, then you're just kind of, weasel your way through, and it was going to be a good session, but you don't have a takeaway. So I'm excited about what I heard today, and I know many people are. I'm seeing the notes, the comments, and it's great feedback. So in terms of what I want to talk about is the power of networking, right? So we're all networking. We're all trying to grow our circle. We're all trying to get bigger in terms of like who we're around and associate with the right people. And there is an art to networking. It's not just going around and collecting names. Because a mentor of mine now that I'm currently working with, Daniel Andrews, he's also in the Connected Leaders Academy, so shout out to Daniel Andrews. He talks about just because you have a lot of phone numbers doesn't mean they're going to answer the phone. So you have to have deeper levels of connection with those that you are connected to. And that requires building relationships, nurturing relationships. Like Sifu Raphael was just talking about how every Friday he texts this individual. These are the things you have to do. So we've all heard your network is your net worth, right? We've all heard it's not what you know, but who you know. These are sayings because they are true. It's the people, right? It's not necessarily so much the knowledge. It's sometimes the connections that you make over time that are going to open new pathways to new things and new opportunities. And I want to tell a quick little story here that really speaks to what I'm talking about. Lisa Charles, great to see you. Lisa's amazing, also in the CLA. Great to see you. Juanita out there. Ivy, I see a lot of you awesome people out there. So there's this gentleman we've all heard of, Les Brown. Yeah. And this is one of his newer books, which I had the pleasure of meeting him in person. It says, you've got to be, in his words, hungry, right? Not hungry. You got to be hungry is how he says it, right? With conviction. The greatness within you, or within, the greatness within to win, by Les Brown, right? So this is one of his newer books here, but Les Brown, he was here in Rockville, Maryland, in my backyard, in my town, Montgomery County, Maryland. And he was at Onyx Ingall's facility in Rockville, the Learn Center. And he was a guest. And I heard through the grapevine, hey, Les Brown's going to be in Maryland. I was like, this is a great opportunity. Guess who's going to be there? Me, right? And guess who's not afraid to invest in himself? Me, right? Guess who's willing to create discomfort, to live in a discomfort zone in order to find new opportunities? Me. So I said, I am going to be there. And not only will I be there, I'm going to be there in style. Because proximity is key. I will say it again. Proximity is key. I said I need to be there, and not just be there. I need to be there VIP. I need to rub shoulders with Les Brown. And I already know the people that are going to be willing to invest more and pay VIP is the exact kind of people that are like-minded because they think differently. I never think it's so much I don't have the money to go to VIP. It's I don't know if it's a priority. I don't know if it's the appropriate investment. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Well, sacrifice is required. So I said, I wasn't stumbling and tripping. This was 6 years ago. At that time, I wasn't stumbling and tripping over the money to pay for that VIP ticket. But as I always say, winners always find a way to win. So I said, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there in style, and I'm going to be in that private room. And sure enough, I was in that private room, and it was like 10 of us, and I was talking to a guy in the lobby as I showed up early. I'm talking to a guy in the lobby. His name is Ed Reed. Shout out to Ed Reed. And this is a really sharp gentleman. And I saw him working the room, going from person to person, dressed really nicely in a suit and, looked really high end. I was like, I need to talk to that guy. He is a mover and shaker. I can just tell. So I worked my way strategically and I got close to him and I said, hi, my name is Jose. He shook my hand and he said, hello, young man. Big hand. My hand got lost in his hand. I mean, he looks like this guy is massive, right? So I was like, he said, hello, young man. And then we started talking and we just hit it off. And then all of a sudden somebody came and said, okay, after like 10 minutes of us talking, somebody said, okay, guys, all of you that are in the VIP, I need you to come back to the room to be with Les Brown. So he was like, well, that's me, guy. I'll talk to you later. I was like, oh no, that's me too. So why don't we just walk back together? And then we knew we were meant to be. And we started talking and talking. We were in the back. When it came time to go sit in the main room, we were in the front row. And guess who sat next to me? Ed Reed. And because of Ed Reed, I tell you this story, not to bore you with the details, but to just clarify something very simple. There is a powerful quote that I coined a couple of years ago that's actually in this book here that I just recently co-authored, The Art of Connection, Volume 3. And my quote is in this book here. And the quote is as follows: you are one power connection away from exponential growth in your personal and professional life. I'll say it again. You are one power connection away from exponential growth in your personal and professional life. The key word there is exponential, not growth, exponential growth. And not just your personal life or just your business and professional life, both, the two ors, right? So that guy, Ed Reed, that I met that one day because I opened my mouth and I introduced myself, and because I paid for proximity, and because I decided to show up, even though it was not in my, it wasn't an easy thing to be there, that one person changed my life. Because that person introduced me to a lady named Diane Dick, who introduced me to another lady named Melanie Ake, who introduced me to Eric Reed, and then I met Jesse Cruz, and then I met Elizabeth Maldonado. Elizabeth Maldonado ended up being in my morning evening routine mastery program, which I wrote the book on. And it was like an 8-week customized process. And she went through that whole thing. And at the end of the program, she changed her life. And then all of a sudden she said on a live show, she was on a show with Emilio Roman in New Jersey. And they were interviewing her and they said, so is there a mentor that you have, somebody who's changed your life? And she said, Jose Escobar. And she said my name 3 times over the course of that little podcast. And all of a sudden, Emilio said, I need to meet that guy. And because of that, I met Juanita Cap in South Africa. And then I met Dr. Obon Bowen, who's this, Purple Heart, multimillionaire guy, underdog millionaire. And I met so many amazing people, and that changed my life. I ended up meeting John Coquinos. That's another power connection in my life. John Coquinos introduced me to Billy Wilcox, and I met Mark Cox, and it introduced me to Jason Flame. And then I met Sifu Raphael because of John Coquinos, Tom DeBlas, Pete McHugh. The list goes on. And you just don't know who you're going to meet because of one power connection. And that's what it's all about. It's about power connection. So choose wisely. Choose wisely of who you're surrounding yourself with, right? We've all heard that in 5 years from now, you're going to be the result of where you spend your money and who you're hanging out with, right? And the books you read. That's where you're going to be in 5 years from now. So if you're not reading books and you're hanging around the wrong people and you're spending your money recklessly, good luck, because in 5 years, you'll be in the same place or worse. And that's the reality. So you got to protect your circle. You got to protect your thoughts. You got to protect what you say. And then as I close here, it's very important to know that once you make that power connection, the game changes. The game changes. It literally has changed for me. It's changed for so many people. And my encouragement to all of you out there is put in your calendar. Your calendar must reflect, right? It must reflect networking. Networking is one of my rules of 5. John Maxwell talks about it all the time. I'm John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer, and he talks about his rule of 5. 5 things you do every single day, no matter what. It's your birthday, it's a holiday, you're on vacation, you still do these 5 things. One of the 5 things that I do every single day is I network. I'm always meeting new people. And on the flip side of meeting new people, I am nurturing existing relationships. And that is what I do every single day, day in and day out. And if you look at my calendar, you're going to find masterminds, boot camps, summits, conventions, seminars, meet and greets, you name it. You're going to find a lot of networking activities on my calendar. And that, if you don't have it on your calendar, get it like yesterday. So my encouragement is network, network, and network, but do it with strategy, do it with intention, and do it with your genuine heart to serve others. And the law of reciprocity will reward you.
Wow. Jose, boom, more bombs, my friend. Connections, connections. This is why we're here today. Look at the people we have on our stage, virtual stage. You know, it's amazing when we can think about the impact. A lot of people don't realize their worth, right? So it's knowing your worth. Like I said, next week, I'm going to be in California. You know, I'm going to get some coffee with Jeanni because I'm going to be at a mastermind, right? When we think about every day living with the intention of connecting with other people, that is powerful, powerful advice, Jose. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I just want to say one thing. I loved it, Jose. I have so many notes on what you said, and that's really powerful, putting the accent on connection. And there is one thing that really stood out for me, again, in personal growth and growing your success and fulfillment in life. It all started with you being willing to be uncomfortable. And that's such a good reminder for everyone. We don't want to be uncomfortable, but if you stop being uncomfortable, you stop growing, isn't it?
Right. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Love it. And I'm glad you took something away as well. So
Definitely.
thank you for that. All right. I guess we have another amazing speaker that we're going to go ahead and introduce. And I'm excited to hear this powerhouse female entrepreneur. So let's go ahead and introduce her. So Jeanni is the founder of Dynamism Leadership, formerly HRRX, a leadership mindset and organization development consulting firm established in 2005. Prior to becoming CEO, she held executive leadership roles at a variety of organizations. Now, with over 3 decades of personal and professional experience, Jeanni has helped thousands of leaders learn how to take charge of the catabolic thoughts and feelings that control their mindset and replace them with anabolic energy. Jeanni holds certifications in leadership coaching, energy, leadership, and human management, as well as a Master of Science degree in human resources. Jeanni's clients state that she has helped them enhance their relationships, both personally and professionally, with themselves and others to enhance connection, attract and retain top talent, and make massive profits. So without further ado, you're in for a treat today. Let's welcome Jeanni Moravitz.
Moravitz Smith. So thank you so much for having me. This has been my honor to meet the two of you. I know we've already met, Raphael, and listening to the two of your presentations, I've taken some great notes, and I had so much to say in the process. I don't actually have a prepared presentation right now, but I'm willing to take any questions about anything. And after I do mention a few things. So anytime you want to throw a question in the chat, you can interrupt me and I'll answer it, no problem. I work with a lot of my clients on understanding who they are at the core. So understanding their core values, and I say this a lot, it makes people laugh, but understanding what makes yourself, what makes you tick and what ticks you off. And when you can really understand who you are at the core and how you're showing up and how you're presenting and sharing yourself with others, that's when you can make true connection with other people. So in your personal life, with your family members, and your job, when you're leading a team, you cannot fully connect with anyone until you've fully connected to yourself. And so you really need to start with a values assessment. And if anyone here on this call isn't clear on what their top 3 core values are, that's a really great place to start, so that you can then start understanding when your values are being honored and respected and loved and given time and value, and when they're being compromised, and what happens when your core values are being compromised. What happens is we tend to go into fight or flight mode, and I point to the back of my head because it goes down to the brainstem part of your brain when we get stressed out or somebody makes us angry or something ticks us off, and we tend to fall into victim mode, or we want to fight through the situation. And that's very much catabolic energy. And when you really get to know who you are, know your core values, and understand what triggers you, that is exactly when you're able to push those thoughts and emotions to the frontal cortex of your brain and actually make decisions from an anabolic state. And you can think about it very simply as negative and positive. Glass half empty, glass half full. However, whatever works for you and how to remember it is how you should be understanding this process. And it takes time to really understand and learn the skill. And like all of us on this call, they all understand personal development and investing the personal time to make you the best person you can be, the best version of who you can be. And François said, be great, do good, and live epic. You can't do that until you've figured out who you are at the core.
Oh, without a doubt. I love the fact that, sorry, Francois, and then you can go. I love the fact that you talk about becoming you, right? Knowing who you are. That's, to me, is the most important thing. And because no matter who you are, wherever you go, there you are.
And so much so, and this is an issue that I'm seeing a lot. For decades, right? People show up the way that they think they're expected to show up, and they're in an uncomfortable situation. I used to laugh about putting my, HR professional hat on, going up the elevator, doing my job, taking that thing off, bad boy, and throwing it in the trunk so I could go to happy hour and be Jeanni. And I used to say, this was early on in my career, and I would say, if I wanted to be an actress, I should have, because I grew up in Los Angeles, the opportunities were there, but that's not who I am. So if I can't be who I am at happy hour in my HR job, then I'm doing something wrong. And that's when I started realizing how everyone can be the most epic version of themselves if they're showing up authentically. And you can only do that if you're comfortable and connected to those that you work with. You're appreciated for who you are and how you show up. And the beauty of, I'm going to call them the newbies. And I always say this, and I'm sure we said it when I interviewed you. I hope I'm not offending them by calling them a newbie, because the opposite is an oldie, right? So I think if anything, I'm putting myself down. But the newbies into the work world, I actually truly admire how they say, here's me, here's the whole me. And this is how I will be successful, is if you can see me with this flaw or this issue, or on Tuesdays I have to do this, whatever it is. And a lot of us from generations prior wouldn't share our whole self in the work world. And that's where the difference is. Because I deal with a lot of leaders right now who are looking at the people entering the work world and saying, oh, those are the trophy kids. They got a trophy for just participation, and they're spoiled and they need all this. The reality, everybody wants the same thing. The newbies are just expressing it better than we ever could. And so if we all take a step back and we listen twice as much as we speak, we will hear what they're saying.
Yeah, without a doubt. I know, Francois, you had a question for Jeanni, or you were going to make a statement.
I just wanted to add something. I love what you say. I was writing recently about integrity and really trying to define, I want to be a man of integrity. How do I do that? And that all comes to, if I don't know my values, if I don't know what I want to stand for, how can I live with it with integrity, right? And I think if you don't have everything defined, you leave so much space, this gray area. And so it can be, I think, a bit overwhelming. At least I felt a bit overwhelmed when I was thinking about all those values and virtues I want to embody. What would you recommend, like, as the best exercise or the best guidance to actually figure out those core values?
Well, I actually have a values assessment. So I'm not the only one out there who has one. You could find a values assessment. You can start there. It's a simple process of just breaking down what your core values are, starting at 15 and getting down to the top 3. And I think that's a great place to start. You can do a Google search and find whatever you need, out there, but figure out what it is. And you mentioned it. Sit with yourself for a while and chart it out. Like don't just assume, but spend time with who you are. Like, again, I'll say it. Ask yourself, what makes me tick? What do I love? What ticks me off? Right? And then you'll start realizing what's really important to you, and you as an adult, not as your 7-year-old child who was told that you could or couldn't do something. I had a client of mine whose mother told her, don't worry, it's okay. You'll never really get good grades because you're an athlete. Well, she grew up with this gremlin telling her she wasn't smart enough, right? But as an adult, it's time to ask yourself, what is really true? Who am I really? And what's the truth that what I've been saying about myself all these years, or these saboteurs that are holding you back, do they really exist? And start taking charge of those negative thoughts and feelings that enter your brain and making the changes.
I love that, Jeannie. I think you have to take your sword and slay those saboteurs, right?
Absolutely. And I love what François said about, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought, about never surrendering. Oh, but you said living one day, 1 year, 1 week, 1 day, as you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I always say that too. Like, I used to save, and we were all like this, save the special candles, save the fancy bottle of wine for a holiday or what have you, right? And if anything positive came out of 2020, 21, and 22 was, you know what? Drink that bottle of wine on Tuesday if it pairs nicely with that steak. Burn those candles because you can get more. You don't even know if you're going to need more. And I always tell people, tomorrow is not promised to everyone. Today is your day to take charge, make it the best you can. And I learned something today, what you said about the physical, our physical being. Like you put it in such a way that it's going to make a difference to me, to like, you know what, everything you do, you only have, this is it. This isn't the dress rehearsal, right? So make it great. I love what you said.
You know, that makes me think, friends comes and go, money that comes and go, time. No, time is just gone. You never have it back. What I like when we have this conversation about values and virtues is really that you don't need a specific place, a specific time, specific people around. You don't need, when you live by your values, you can do that every single day. And that's so powerful because it's a decision you can just make. And I think that's the whole power of living intentionally.
Yeah. And it's great because a lot of people have a hard time saying no to others and setting boundaries. But if it doesn't support your values, no. And whoever's listening, no period is a full sentence. You don't have to follow up with a reason why or an excuse. No, I like to say no, thank you, but you can choose to say thank you or not. But it's okay because guess what? It's your life to live it the way you want to. And you guys were bringing up your books. I did write a chapter in this book, and my chapter on success codes. And it says the secrets to success you weren't taught in school. And my chapter is success is an inside job. And the inside job is who you are at the core. what your values are and how you choose to support them on a daily basis. And when they're being compromised, ask yourself, why? I've been challenging every client this week. Why? Why do you think like that? Why do you think that's true? Why are you doing that? Why are you not doing that? And when you start asking yourself that question, why am I eating that? So now that I look at him, he's so fit. I'm like, why did I eat that? I need to be like, what's the bigger picture here? So ask yourself that too. And you all agree that this is it. This is the chance you get to shine. And I love what Jose was saying about networking, and your net worth is who you hang out with.
Yeah.
It's my parents used to tell me that you're only going to be as successful as those 5 friends that you're hanging out with. So do you want to be an accomplice in the crime that they're doing, or do you want to shine with them? Pick and choose wisely, my dear.
Yeah. Similarly, my mom used to say, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are.
That's a good one too.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, that's great. Listen, that was phenomenal, Jeannie. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for sharing with us. That's a great way to end your segment. That was powerful. So thank you. And thank you for all of those comments there. There's so many people engaging with what you're saying. So you definitely landed home. And I will be picking up a copy of Success Codes. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's keep the show going here. And the next person that we're going to introduce is the co-host, the Titan of Industry, as he is known in the martial arts world, Sifu Raphael. I actually met him in person in New Jersey at an event, and I knew from the beginning he was a phenomenal leader. I knew he was a phenomenal martial artist already. But for those of you who don't really know him well, he is a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor of Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. This is a 10,000 square foot facility, folks. It's not your everyday school. He's doing some amazing things, not only in the martial arts industry, in entrepreneurship in general. I consider him to be an amazing serial entrepreneur. He's the founder of 4 different shows. So make sure you're taking notes on this one. He's the founder of and the host of 4 unique podcasts. The first one is The Coaching Call, which covers various different types of coaching styles in terms of sports, martial arts, fitness, business, mindset, relationships, leadership, all of the above. Anything coaching, that is your show you want to tune into. Heroes Rising, that's what we're doing here today. 2 coaches, right, are featured every single call, twice a month, every other week. So we have 2 amazing folks that we heard from today. The Seer Show is bringing the world together from New York to Queensland, Australia. And that's every Tuesday at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time, bright and early, 4:30 a.m. I'm a 4 a.m. guy, so this is actually perfect for me. Tune into that one. And then, of course, his latest one is called New Tip Daily, and that's Monday through Friday. And there he delivers all kinds of tips on business, family, mindset, fitness, and health. So without further ado, we're in for a treat once again, because Sifu Raphael is going to be talking to us about SEO, and not on Google, but see every opportunity. Sifu Raphael, the floor is yours.
So before you even said that, Jose, what did you guys all think SEO is, right? We all think of it as search engine optimization, right? That's what we all know. But I want to change your perspective today. I want you to think of SEO, and it can also mean see every opportunity. It is important to always be open. And you, listening to all of you guys today, you open me to new possibilities, new opportunities. You know, Francois, I've already invited you to New York, but you know, you visited my country. You're in Colombia, you're in Argentina, you're in Mexico, you're everywhere. So are you marking your territory when you go to these places? Just curious.
Both.
So always be open. You never know when an opportunity to any activity is going to be out there for you. Seek them out. This can involve, like Jose was talking about, networking, keeping an eye out and about wherever you go. Remember where you are, you go, right? Wherever you want to be, you can make it happen. And like Jose said, invest in yourself. Search every opportunity, seek every opportunity, and see every opportunity. Very related to one another. You have to be willing to try new things. Additionally, it can be helpful to have a clear understanding. And Jeanni, you talked about this, right? Your goals, your skills. This can make it easier to identify the opportunities that align with you, not the ones that align with that one. Oh, he's successful or she's successful because they're doing this. But if it doesn't align with you, you will not be successful. That's why it's important to listen to the coaches who are doing it, but you cannot do it exactly the way they did it because you are unique. There's several places where you can look for opportunities everywhere, right? Think of your workplace. If you want to advance in your current company, check the company's website. They have an intranet or they have a posting for new jobs, new opportunities. Volunteer at your job, stay later. You will see opportunities. You're working at your desk and somebody goes, hey, you didn't go home yet. Guess what? They just noticed you. If you left at 5 o'clock, if that's the clock out time, like everybody else, you went got into the elevator like a sardine, like everybody else did, nobody's going to notice you. The opportunity is in the actions that you take. Listen, Jeanni, you worked in HR. You know that each company is always looking for people who are going to make a difference, who are going to help that company go to the next level, go to the next quota, and even supersede it. You need to be representing yourself at all times. There are upcoming opportunities everywhere. Attend industry events like Jose did. Was he able to talk to some of the most amazing people? Yes. But he didn't go the cheap route. He invested. I'm sure it wasn't cheap, Jose, to go into these private rooms, right? When they announced, okay, only the top people can come in, Jose, wait a minute, I'm going too, right? You need to participate in these things. Those are opportunities that if you do not participate in, you will not know. There are people in your life who are giving you a hand up, but if your eyes are closed, you'll never see that hand. Go to LinkedIn, learn about potential opportunities. The most professional platform you can find, those are it. Go there. Go to events. Look up on the web what's happening around me. You can say, oh, this weekend I'm just going to sit down and watch a bunch of Netflix. What if you said, what's near my house? And I can go and find an event, a venue, a fair. You never know. Celebrities might be there. You may bump into somebody and they may go, I want to get to know you. An opportunity is waiting for you. Are you ready for it? If you want to look for a job, go to Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn Jobs. They're great resources for finding a job. Recruiting agencies, all these things. If you're looking for a job, a different opportunity. But you need to go somewhere that matches your skills. And if you don't have the skills, find what works for you and then become skilled at it. Ask your friends, ask family, colleagues, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, that sounds interesting. I want to go there too. Ask yourself these questions. If I'm just sitting at home, what am I accomplishing? Make sure that wherever you go, that it's a good fit for you. Opportunities are everywhere, but you can also help to create them by proposing a new project or an initiative within your current company. Or here's the good one. You've done your work. Start your own. Start a side hustle. Attending events can be a great way. I've said it before. Opportunities can be in your field or outside of your field. For example, are you having an opportunity today to write notes? I know all my guests today, my co-host is writing notes, my two guests are writing notes, I'm taking notes, because there's an opportunity when someone else speaks, and Jeannie talked about it. You have 2 ears. Use them. We are having an amazing international event in New York on July 13th and the 16th. Guess what? Opportunity is knocking, and it's on July 13th through the 16th in New York. We have authors coming, we have doctors, we have professionals of all kinds, and you can rub elbows with them, or you can just be part of the audience. You decide how well connected you want to be. Jose, would you mind putting up, if you go to, or maybe I can do it, on banners. If you go to banners, we have the dates here, right? And if you look at any opportunity that we can present to you, so it is going to be February the 10th, February 10th, we're having 2 additional guests coming in. I threw that in by accident. But I want you to block July 13th through the 16th. We're going to do a virtual event, but you can't rub elbows in a virtual event, can you? Jose, can you rub elbows in a virtual event?
Not at all.
Not at all, right? So what should you do? You should come to this amazing event that we're going to be having on this particular day. Details are coming. So there are a few tips for finding opportunities at events. It doesn't matter where you go. So when you go to an event, if you come to ours, great. Jose and I are hosting this event in New York. If you go to an event tomorrow, this weekend, what are you doing this weekend? Are you finding an event near you that maybe you can rub elbows with somebody that can change your life? An opportunity is waiting for you to meet people, whether it's in your industry or another industry. Listen, remember that movie? I think it was Wedding something, where they used to crash weddings, right? And they got to meet different people. So I'm not saying go crash a wedding, but go to an event, pay the money. It's an investment in you. Jose has made tons and tons of investments, and I'm sure not one of them was it a waste of his time or money, because he calculated what he was doing. I calculated my trip for next week. I knew it was coming. I asked for it. I made it an intention to say, I'm going to California because there's an opportunity. I'm going to be rubbing elbows with billionaires. Why do I want to rub elbows with billionaires? Are their elbows full of money? No. Their brains are full of the knowledge that will help me as well. So your skills, your experience is going to exponentially grow by finding an opportunity. See an opportunity everywhere. SEO, people, when you find it, take notes, write it down, speak to people. Listen, I've never met a shy person who was filthy rich. Every person that I've ever met who has made more than $1 million has always been out there talking to people, getting to know them, asking for help. The other thing I'm going to tell you is see an opportunity to ask for help. I bet you sometimes, like I used to always think, I can do it by myself. I don't need help. And that will never let you grow. Ask for help. I love impacting leaders every day. So ask yourself, when you meet someone, don't be selfish and pitch them your line. Ask them, how can you help them? How can you be of service to them? I don't want to keep going on, but I cannot tell you enough how important it is to make these connections. SEO people, what are we doing every day? See every opportunity. Thank you guys for letting me share with you.
Amazing, amazing. And you know what's interesting, Sifu Raphael, is that people are going to say, I can already predict this because I've been in the event space for many years in the day job that I used to have as a sales director. And they will say, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the resources, or this, that. There's all kinds of reasons, right? Valid reasons and some excuses. But the reality is, exactly that reason as to why you can't go is exactly the reason why you need to go. Because otherwise you're going to be in the same cycle all the time where you don't have the money or you don't have the time. And it's about creating time freedom. And it's about creating wealth and impacting lives. And you can't impact lives from home unless you work like we are right now, right? So you got to do it to the next level. So that's my encouragement is, you know, we want to see you in New York on July 13th to the 16th. It's going to be a phenomenal event. I can already tell you that right now. Sifu Raphael and myself are going to go all in to make sure that people walk away completely changed, both personally and professionally. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time for all of us. The most exciting thing is that I live in the moment, and what Francois shared and what Jeanni shared and what you shared, Jose, my gosh, that's impacting me. I cannot rub elbows with you guys right now, but I will when you guys come to New York, right?
Yeah.
I know. Listen, Francois, he's a world traveler. He's in Argentina. He's going, where are you going next?
Probably Brazil, maybe a bit in US, and I'm following events, but definitely in July, New York.
Oh, I know you're coming to New York. It's going to be a great time. And people who want to connect with anybody here, we've put their connections here. You can connect with me here if you want to send me an email. You are always welcome to connect. And if you don't think you're welcome, then you are wrong. You need to connect with as many people as possible. I was listening to not Frank Cardone. Yeah, Cardone, right? He was talking about, do you want to have $1 million or do you want to have 1 million friends? Which one will make you more money? You can lose the $1 million. But if you have 1 million friends, they can lend you $1 each and you can make that $1 back, that million back. What if they lend you $10 each? Now you just made $10 million. Great advice. Great advice.
I wanted to say something what Jose you said, and I absolutely love that, this idea that we make excuses. And I have a chapter in my book that I call Be Great or Make Excuses. You have to choose because you cannot do both in the same time. It's either excuses or being great.
That's right. The magic of thinking big talks about the disease excusitis, right? Yeah. And many of us, myself included, sometimes I catch myself making an excuse. And the reality is that an excuse is a thin shell stuffed with a lie. And we just need to get past it. You know, sometimes you got to go over, under, around, but you got to get past it and execute.
Yeah. And I love, like, if we put all of what we said together today, it's like, don't wait for the opportunities, create them. So define first what you want, show up in alignment with your values, and create those powerful connections.
You know, I want to share one thing. I don't know if you guys have, and I know that one of the things I do is when I read a book, and I have so many books, somebody said to me, how many books are you reading? I'm reading 4 books. in one day. I start with my morning, I read a portion of it, I read another portion, I read another portion, and eventually I will finish. Somebody said, when do you finish books? I said, when the time is right, because I'm reading because every book is going to give me a different idea. So I take notes. But here's the thing, right? I sometimes go back and I go back and reread and take more notes and re-understand. So I know everybody listening, you should listen to this show a couple of times. There were so many nuggets here. And I sometimes hate saying nuggets, but truly it was. To me, today was a golden bomb, if you will, of knowledge and insight that all of you brought to this show today. So thank you all. Amazing stuff.
Thank you all as well. Phenomenal.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So February 10th, come back. We have 2 other amazing guests coming on. And I got to tell you, I am floored when people just say yes, that they want to be on this show. Because the amount of people who are listening or the amount of people who see the show later on is just amazing. So thank you to all our listeners, everybody who participated in the chat. This show is amazing because of the people listening and the people participating. So Jeanni, amazing. Let's connect next week. We'll have some
For sure.
coffee in California. And François, what can I say? I can't wait to give you a hug, man. I got to give you a hug.
See you
And
soon.
your story is amazing. You know, so many people don't realize that you were holding that 5-year-old child and you were not only saving your life, but you saved someone else's life. And we can do that. We don't have to be in that situation, but your words and the actions of saying to someone, I love you, I care for you. And Jeanni and I, we had an amazing conversation. If you guys want to go to Coaching Call and listen to our conversation, my God, it's mind-blowing of what our words and what we can do to save someone today.
Mm-hmm.
Any last words, you guys? Jose, what do you
Happy
think?
Friday.
I love it.
I think
Happy
we're there.
Friday.
I think we're there. We had great value today. Again, I echo what Sifu Rafael said. Thank you, Jeanni. Thank you, Francois. You guys were first class, phenomenal. I learned a lot today. And yeah, this is very exciting. So thank you all. Have a phenomenal weekend. And we'll keep this going in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then don't forget to get to Connected Leaders Academy.
That's right.
Not only are they sponsoring our show, but it's so many great connections. And we talked today about connections. So definitely do that.
For sure. Thanks
All right,
again.
everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy
Bye.
Friday. Bye.